Hello everyone and welcome to the big one. This is Ukraine versus Team USA and it's Vasyl Ivanchuk versus Wesley. Two of them have played quite a few times together, but the overall head-to-head score is 2-1 in Wesley's favor. So this is only counting classical games. Wesley defeated Vasyl twice, Vasyl defeated Wesley once, and 4 of the games they played ended in a draw. So this is a great opportunity for Vasyl to equalize the score. Whether it's possible or not, it's why we watch these games, and also because the moves are really awesome. And you guys will love this one. Will feature a really cool pause the video moment and also a fun story at the end of the video. So let's check it out. Vasyl with white opens with pawn to d4, and when I started watching this game, Fabi already won his game on board 1, so also something to take into consideration when not just watching this, but also making the moves for Team Ukraine and Team USA. Knight to f6, we have pawn to c4, e6 by Wesley, knight to c3, and bishop to b4. Wesley goes for the Nimzo-Indian defense, and we have queen to c2, the classical variation. You know, it's been here for centuries, so why deviate from it? We have castles. Pawn to a3, attacking the bishop, captures, and pawn to d5. We have knight to f3, and d captures on c4. Queen captures on c4, and pawn to b6. We have bishop to g5, and bishop to a6, attacking the queen, queen to a4, and now queen to d7. Pawn to c5 is the top move that everyone plays here, queen to d7, the second most popular. We have queen back to c2, and now pawn to c5. Okay, d captures on c5, and rook to c8, getting ready to capture back on c5. Now, you might be thinking, is this not a great opportunity to play pawn to b4? Well, you could play it, but then after captures and captures, white does get a passed c-pawn, but your king is still in the center of the board, and it's hard to say how strong this pawn really is, whether it's a weakness or a strength. And yeah, like I said, your king is on e1. So instead, we have rook to d1, attacking the blank queen, and now queen to e7. And now what's interesting about this position is that Wesley had this exact same position last year in a game against Fabiano Caruana in the tournament called the American Cup Champ, or the American Cup Championship, and Wesley played pawn to e4 here. The game ended in a draw, but it's a really complicated line where Fabi captured the bishop on f1, but you could also play rook captures on c5, and then bishop captures on f6, going after the queen, or you go something like queen to d2 if you want to keep material on the board, and after bishop captures on f1, you just play bishop captures on f6, g captures, because if you capture with the queen, then queen d8 is deadly, and now queen to d8 with check. Okay, you can trade queens, but you know, the way you prefer. Rook captures on f1, and after something like knight to c6, attacking, you can even play queen captures on f6, and the game continues with it being a very complicated one. So after queen to e7, we have queen to a4. Vasyl deviates from the game that Wesley played against Fabi, and now Wesley has to figure out how to go about this. And he plays b captures on c5. There is a game where queen captures on c5 was played. Wesley just plays b captures on c5, and he does invest some 7 minutes in the move. And okay, now it's completely new territory, and Vasyl strikes with pawn to h4. He says, I don't care about my king being in the center. I'm going after your king with rook h3, rook to g3. So okay, pawn to c4. And it's hard to say if this is an approach Vasyl would take if Ukraine was already not losing due to Fabi winning on board 1. But okay, he could also play that even if it was a one-on-one game. We have rook to h3, pawn to h6, attacking the bishop, and now queen to c2. Vasyl sacrifices the bishop on g5, although this is one piece that you cannot capture. If you capture the bishop now, then h captures, and you have big problems here. You have to play knight b to d7, and now even rook captures on d7, and after queen captures and pawn captures, it's very hard to defend this with black. For example, knight to g5, and there is only one move that saves black here. If you capture the knight, then not queen h7 check, but queen c3 is the move that finishes off black. Now rook to h8 or queen h8 will be checkmate, and black will have nothing better than to block with e5 and then sacrifice the queen for the rook, which is completely winning for white. So what you would have to do after knight g5 is play king to f8, and then knight captures on f7, where again you cannot capture due to rook h7 check, and also if you capture with the queen, it's not much better. Rook h8 check followed by rook to h7, and you will be winning the black queen. So after queen to c2, Wesley just continued knight b to d7, and now knight to d4. Okay, 27 minutes to Wesley's 44. Bishop to b7, and now bishop back to d2. We have pawn to a5, pawn to f3, and now queen to c5, putting pressure on the knight here. But okay, it's not really looking like a knight you will be able to capture with the rook being on d1. But okay, just in case, bishop to e3, we have pawn to c3, going after Vasyl's king on e1, and now queen captures on c3, offering a queen trade. And probably best for Wesley would be to move the queen back, something like queen f8, and then after the white queen move, something like queen d3, attack the queen once again, and then bring the knight to e5, and it's pretty good position for Wesley. So instead, after queen captures on c3, Wesley decided to trade queens. Queen captures on c3. Again, it's hard to say whether he would go for this if FIDE did not already win on board one. So it's kind of a thing when you play a team event. You always have to be mindful of the overall score, because if your team is winning and you just go on a rampage and lose, you're not a very good team player. And on the other hand, if your teammates are down point wise, then you can just offer a draw, even if your position is worse. Sometimes you have to play for a win. That's just how team events work. Probably why Vasyl played all of this h4, rook h3, going for rook to g3, brilliancy. So okay, queen captures, we have b captures on c3, and after b captures on c3, rook captures on c3. Wesley grabs the pawn on c3, and now how to continue this? Okay, the bishop on e3 is hanging. Obviously, we have to do something about that. We have bishop to c1, bishop to a6, and now pawn to e4, offering a trade of bishops on f1. Bishop captures, we have rook, king captures on f1, and rook a to c8, now threatening the bishop on c1, bishop to b2, and now rook 3 to c5. We have pawn to g4, trying to execute pawn to g5 at some point. Wesley has a rook on g5, so for the moment it's not possible. Knight to b6. We have rook to h2, and king... first knight to c4, attacking the bishop, king to e1, as okay, the rook is defending the bishop, and you could try to improve your position a little bit first, but Wesley goes for the trade. Knight captures, and rook to c3. We have pawn to a4, and now rook to a3, going after the a4 pawn, rook to b6, and now rook to d8. We have rook to b5, putting pressure on the a5 pawn, and we have pawn to g6. Here, the idea is that if you capture on a4, knight to c6 goes after the pawn on a5, and now you either trade, or if you want to keep the pawn, you play rook a8. But now your position is very passive, and white will get pushing with something like pawn to g5, rook to d7, knight to e5, going after the f7 pawn. Overall, it's an equal position, but it does look scary for black and white. I mean, the pass pawn will be pushed, and also you will get attacked on the king side. So after rook b5, Wesley played pawn to g6, and now knight to b3, preparing to capture on a5, rook to c8, and now king to e2. If you capture on a5, of course, the f3 pawn will become a liability. So king to e2, and now rook to c4. Excellently placed, going after the a4 pawn once again. Rook to d8 with check, king to g7, and pawn to g5. We have knight captures on e4. Wesley sacrifices a piece for two pawns, or two or more. G captures on h6 with check, king captures, f captures on e4, and now rook captures on e4 with check. King f2, and now rook captures on a4. Of course, not rook captures on h4. If you capture this rook, then rook h8 check wins the game. as this rook covers the 5th rank, so you have to go up the board. So after king f2, rook captures on a4, and now knight to d4. It's 26 minutes versus 27 minutes, so equal time. And a fairly equal position if you play correctly. Rook to a2 with check, king to g3, and now Wesley plays rook 4 to a3 with check. And with this move, things become very, very interesting. If Wesley was trying to find a quick draw, something like rook to b4 would definitely go a long way, because after, let's say, rook captures and pawn captures, okay, white will capture this pawn at some point, but black will have sufficient means to get a draw. Something like rook h8 check to first force the king back, and after rook to b8, you will go e5, attack the knight, something like knight f3, rook to a3, rook captures on b4, pawn to f5, and this is, well, enough compensation to hold this to a draw. But after king g3, Wesley played rook 4 to a3 with check, knight to f3, and now, well, it's very hard to find Wesley's next move. Even if you don't know what I'm talking about, the only move that holds the position is king to g7. Why this is so? Well, the idea is that after king to g7 and rook to d7, preparing to double up and go after the f-pawn, you will play king f6, and now after rook b to b7, going after the f7 pawn, you will play pawn to e5, sort of threatening this e4 move to win the knight. Now rook captures on f7, you will capture the pawn with check, king to e6, and now, okay, maybe it's still possible to hold, but it's very hard to say something like king to g7. If you play pawn to e4, you can even lose the game, because now rook b to e7 delivers a check, and now after king to d5, you have this rook e5 check. That's the point. Even though the knight is hanging, the knight is still very useful in the attack against the black king, and after king c4, you will capture this with check, or if you go up the board, then you introduce this rook into the attack, and after king d3, you defend the knight, and of course completely winning for white now. But after this knight to f3 move, rook to e2 was played by Wesley, completely missing Vasyl's idea. And of course, you know what the move is without me even telling you, as we've discussed it, and that is rook to b7. And it's important to play rook to b7, not rook to d7. If you play rook to d7 first, trying to go rook b7 or even capturing here, then e5 is very annoying. And now after rook captures on f7, pawn to e4, and you will no longer be winning this game. So after rook to e2, rook to b7 was played, and now this is much, much stronger. Now pawn to e5 doesn't really make sense, because after rook captures on f7 and pawn to e4, rook to h8 is checkmate. So big difference. So after this rook to b7 move, Wesley played rook to e5. Going king to g7 now, although it did work in the position that we've discussed. Now going rook d to d7, rook e to e3, and rook captures on f7. Let's say king to g8 and king to g4. You can even give up the knight here. You don't really care. Something like pawn to e5. You can even play rook g7, check, king h8, king g5. And if you capture king h6, threatening checkmate, so you're going to have to bring the rook back, and now you get checkmated like this, or any of the other lines that also get you checkmated. So after rook b7, we have rook to e5 by Wesley, but even that is not enough. Rook captures on f7, Wesley played pawn to g5, and now there are many moves that you can play here. However, only one wins with a beautiful theme. Feel free to pause the video and take down Wesley So for Vasyl Ivanchuk and for Team Ukraine while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this beautiful checkmate. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is pawn to h5. Beautiful, taking down the g6 square away from the black king. Now the threat is rook to h8 checkmate. And of course, if you capture, then comes rook to f6. And if you have the opportunity, do watch the video footage, because Vasyl was really preparing this so elegantly, so slowly, and he was going after that rook. He reached really slowly, and then he just pushed it to f6, and he was like, I mean, it was like, yes, my masterpiece has been created. And it was in this position on move 48 that Wesley So resigned the game. as there is nothing more to be done here. There is no defense against rook to h8 checkmate. Whatever you play, you get checkmated. Even if you push the pawn, the knight is still covering the g5 square, so rook h8 is still checkmate. The only way to continue would be to play rook captures on f3, but this would be an insult to Vasyl and to chess itself, as of course Wesley knows that Vasyl would easily win this. For example, king captures. You're up a full rook, like maybe something like this, and then okay, you have the two pawns, but against the rook it is simply not enough. Something like rook d5, pawn to g4 check, king to h4, let's say rook captures on a5, g3. There's just no way to advance this pawn, like g2, rook to g3, everything is nicely covered, you will win the pawn and easily win the game. Like g1 queen, you're gonna capture, there's no stalemate, there's no nothing here. And now you simply go after the black king. If the black king goes down the board, you checkmate him. If he goes up the board, then you start chasing him. King h7, king f6, king h8, and now you go king f7, and after king h7, of course, it's a nice rook to h2 checkmate. So not only does Vasyl Ivanchuk equalize the score, it is now 2 wins Vasyl, 2 wins Wesley, and 4 draws in classical chess, so very nicely done. But also, like I said, I don't know if I've said it in the beginning of the video, but in 2009, Wesley played against Vasyl Ivanchuk, defeated him. Wesley was 16 years old at the time. It was in the FIDE World Cup, and after that loss, Vasyl Ivanchuk announced his retirement from professional chess, but then decided not to retire, and here he is in 2024, beating Wesley. So, like nothing happened, like he didn't say that he was retiring. So yeah, brilliant stuff by Vasyl, and I will quickly check because there was one more game still happening, so I don't know if it finished. Let me just quickly... Anton Korobov won.
I had a very special case not in the Olympiad, but really at the European Championship where we got the medal.
Whether they won. So let me just quickly find that. Yeah, whenever I want to find it really quickly, the interface just doesn't allow it. Sorry about that. Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah, that actually was the one I was looking for. Yeah. Fabiano Caruana defeated Andrei Volokitin. It was the first game that finished. Vasyl Ivanchuk defeated Wesley So. Ruslan Ponomario drew Lenier Dominguez Perez, and Anton Korobov defeated Ray Robson. Brilliant stuff. So yeah, Team Ukraine takes down Team USA, and this is a blow. I think Team USA will not recover, in the sense that Team USA is only interested in winning first place at the Chess Olympiad. Anything short of that will not be, even remotely interesting to them. So big win for Ukraine, and this is now Ukraine is now on a path to actually winning the Chess Olympiad. But okay, we still have a long way to go, and okay, maybe even Team USA can still bounce back, but it's not going to be easy with so many great players and so many strong teams. Yeah, Vasyl takes down Wesley So. Incredible game, incredible, turn of events. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you found that beautiful pawn to h5 winning idea. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Joseph Tree, the GroznyChessFestival.org.gg, Dr. Captain Collins, Professor Hexagon, and William Gould for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check upon your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.